Some names become history. Some become warning. And some become wounds that refuse to close. To the elves, his name was spoken like a shadow at the gate. Zul'jin. He came from the trees with hatred in his eyes and fire in his hands. We knew his name before we saw his face. Every watchtower knew it. Every child feared it.
They feared him, yes, but we remembered him, not as monster first, as son of the forest, as voice that would not kneel.
And there it is. One name, two memories. Monster, Patriot, or perhaps both. Come, friend, sit. Careful with this cup. It is bitter. Stories about warriors usually are. Now, it is easy to point at Zul'jin and say, there is the villain. And maybe, from one road, that is what he was. He brought war, he brought fear, he brought blood beneath the trees. No cup of brew is strong enough to wash that away. But history is a tricky meal. If you only taste one side of the stew, you may think you know the whole pot. But beneath the spice, beneath the smoke, beneath the story told by those who won the last battle, there is always another flavor. Tonight we do not ask whether Zul'jin was innocent. No, that would be too easy. Tonight we ask something harder. What makes a monster? And what makes a people call that same monster their champion?
Let it be recorded with clarity. Zul'jin was no misunderstood wanderer. He was a warlord, a predator of the forest, a commander of raids, ambushes, and slaughter. Under his shadow, the roads were unsafe, the outer villages burned, the innocent learned to fear the tree line. He did not come seeking peace. He came seeking vengeance.
I remember the horns, not ours, theirs, low in the dark, then arrows, then fire, then screams from homes that had stood for generations. If he was someone's hero, then he was still our nightmare. And that memory matters. Do not rush past it. Do not wave it away because another people suffered first. A child, frightened in an elven village, did not choose ancient borders. A family behind city walls did not carve the first road through Amani land. To them, Zul'jin was not a symbol. He was the sound of danger coming from the trees. And when fear has a name, it rarely forgets it.
You call him monster. Maybe you should ask why the forest answered when he called. Maybe you should ask why old warriors stood straighter when his name was spoken. Maybe you should ask why the children listened. Zul'jin did not make the wound, Elf. He gave it teeth.
We had stones before their towers. We had kings before their banners. We had names before their maps. Then came the bright walls. Then came the clean roads. Then came the story where we were only shadows. And Zul'jin said, no more.
There is danger in those two words. No more. They can be the beginning of justice or the beginning of revenge. Sometimes, at first, even the speaker does not know which road he has chosen. A leader is one person. A symbol is more dangerous. A leader can be questioned. A symbol is carried. A leader can be wrong. A symbol becomes the place where a people store everything they cannot bear alone. And Zul'jin became that. Not just a warrior, not just a chieftain, a vessel. Into him, the Amani poured their grief, their anger, their lost temples, their dead, their humiliation, their memory of a world before Elven towers touched the sky.
When he stood, we remembered we could stand. When he bled, we remembered our own blood. When he hated Mon, we knew the hate had a name.
And that is the danger. When a people carry a wound too long, they sometimes stop looking for a healer. They look for someone strong enough to bleed for them. So was Zul'jin a patriot? Perhaps. If patriot means one who loved his people fiercely, if it means one who refused to let their memory be buried, if it means one who looked upon the ruins of his ancestors and said, "This will not be the end of us," then yes, there is patriotism there. But was he a monster? Perhaps. If monster means one who let hatred guide the hand, if it means one who made no difference between the guilty and the nearby, if it means one who fed the future to the hunger of the past, then yes, there is monstrosity there too.
Ya speak easy, Pandaren. Would you sit quiet while strangers built over your dead? Would you smile while they named your home again? Would you bow while they called you savage?
No, I would not smile. I would not bow. But I hope I would remember that my pain does not make every blade wise. A bitter cup may explain a bitter tongue. It does not make poison into medicine.
He threatened our homes, our families, our kingdom. There is no mystery there.
Yes, but perhaps there was another fear beneath the first. The fear not only of what Zul'jin would do, but of what he represented. For if Zul'jin was only a savage enemy, then Quel'Thalas was clean. A shining kingdom besieged by hatred. A simple story. But if Zul'jin was the heir of a wounded people, if his rage grew from land, memory, and old loss, then the story becomes harder to hold. The wall does not look the same when the enemy at the gate says, "You built this on what was ours."
We bled too. We buried our own. Must our grief always answer for theirs?
No. But grief does not cancel grief. It only makes the room more crowded. And crowded rooms require careful voices, not louder weapons.
Empires fall quiet, Mon. Not all at once. First the roads grow empty, then the shrines go cold. Then the young ones ask why the old songs matter. That is when a people begin to die. Not when the enemy strikes, when the children stop believing.
Zul'jin made us believe, made us remember the old strength, made us look at the golden walls and say, "They can fall." Made us feel the empire was not bones yet. Not yet.
Belief is powerful. It can lift a people from despair. It can keep a dying fire alive through a long winter. But belief tied only to revenge, that fire does not warm the house. It burns it down so no one else may live there. So here is where I place my cup on the table. Zul'jin may have been right to remember. He may have been right to resist. He may have been right to say that the Amani were more than shadows, more than enemies, more than a problem at the edge of someone else's kingdom. But somewhere along the road, Resistance became revenge, and revenge began eating the people it claimed to protect. That is the tragedy. Not that Zul'jin loved his people, that part may have been true. The tragedy is that love, left alone with rage, can become something that looks very much like hatred. And hatred is a poor builder. It can tear down walls. It cannot raise a future.
Then what should we have done? Forgot?
No, never forget. But remember with both hands. One hand for the spear, if there is no other road, and one hand for the child who must live after the spear is set down. So was Zul'jin a monster? To many elves, yes. He was fear in the forest, fire at the gate, the name mothers whispered when the horns sounded in the dark. Was he a patriot? To many Amani, yes. He was the voice that refused silence, the fist raised over old graves, the promise that the empire had not yet become dust. And perhaps that is why his story still matters, because the most dangerous figures in history are rarely only one thing. They are wounds with faces. They are grief with weapons. They are love twisted by war until even those who follow them cannot tell where devotion ends and vengeance begins. So perhaps Zul'jin was not dangerous because he hated the elves. Perhaps he was dangerous because he made the Amani believe they could still win. This tale is an unofficial, fan-made, speculative story created for entertainment, discussion, and creative exploration. All referenced characters, places, peoples, settings, and lore belong to their respective rights holders. This story is not official history and is not intended to replace, alter, or claim ownership over any established lore. Before we close the shutters for the night, I wish to thank the tavern regulars who keep the fire warm. Benjamin Bragg, 77, Cupcake Meow, Giga, Weaponized Incompetence, The Guild. Thank you, friends. Your company makes the long road kinder. Thank you for listening. May your cup stay full, and may your stories be honest enough to hurt before they heal.